Samsung was always on weekend mornings. And apparently a lot of parents were using the Samsung TV time to then go have sex. Because they knew their kids were just like sat in front of a TV.
That's relatable. No, I'm kidding. I have toddlers. That's not relatable. Hi, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Esther, and we're the co-founders of Pak, a company reimagining how kids use technology.
Welcome to Parenting, apparently.
Today, it is just the two of us, and we're doing the episode where we get nostalgic first and then slightly alarmed second.
So we both grew up in the 90s, me in Canada, Esther in Belgium, with different shows, different snacks, and different rules. And now we're both raising our kids under a completely different set of rules than the ones we got ourselves.
So we want to get into what we actually miss, what we are glad is gone, and what's worth stealing back.
Basically, this is a millennial parenting deep dive. But first, the fun part, toys, shows, and whatever was in our lunchboxes that would get a note sent home today. So yes, let's dig in.
Yay. Right, Melissa, what was in your lunchbox that would get a note sent home?
Peanut butter.
What?
For sure.
Oh, for allergies.
Yeah. Like I would get in trouble. Like now everything's peanut free here. Is it not like that in Belgium?
No. I don't think we've ever, I've never known that. My mom was the kind of my mom was an almond mom. Have you heard of an almond mom?
Do you mean an almond mom?
Oh yeah, do you pronounce it that way? Almond mom. Almond.
Well, you can say almond. I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
Almond. This is now an ASMR show.
Almond moms. What is an almond mom?
Do you not know what an almond mom is? Okay, so an almond mom is the one that an ingredients only household is the other thing. We did not have snacks in our house. We only had ingredients. And if we were hungry, my mom was like, have some nuts. They're healthy for you. It's good for your brain. And once we were let loose or we were allowed to go get snacks from the nearby little corner shop, it was like a giant bag of chips that would be emptied and eaten in one sitting because we had no boundaries whatsoever. But I have many fond memories of watching TV and eating Rice Krispies because that was the snack that we had. But even not with milk, just Rice Krispies straight out of the box.
Just dry Rice Krispies?
By the handful.
Oh my God, I can only imagine the crumbs on your couch.
It wasn't too bad. We would go just pour them in our mouth. It was very crunchy. It was very good.
Oh my God. I remember coming home and every day my mom had a vegetable plate ready to rock. And
oh yes, I remember you telling me that.
Her whole hack was she would just drop raw vegetables on a plate in front of us wherever we were in the house. Even if we were playing on the floor, it would just appear. And then she would say nothing and disappear and go make dinner. And we would eat it all because we were hungry. And then we would go have dinner with vegetables, and her whole hack was I got you. You guys had vegetables twice, you suckers. But we just grew up with the same.
Oh, it was for a vegetable twice. I thought she would just get the vegetables in you beforehand, so it wouldn't matter as much at dinner.
No, it was double. We doubled up. We always had. My mom was also my parents in general, but my mom was definitely the homemaker who cooked dinner most nights, and we had a lot of very healthy meals. We also didn't have a lot of snacks in the house until we got a little bit older, and then when you're a parent and you hide the good stuff from your young kids.
Yes.
So yeah, exactly. So we're still in that phase. It's great, but we're just starting to dip out of it with Ollie, who will see something high up in a cupboard at some point and be like, "What's that?" And he'll just see something on a box, and we're like, "Oh shit, he caught us." But when we got to that point with my parents, then we started to have a little bit more flexibility. My dad was definitely a big snacker growing up, so
the bad snacks or almonds.
No. My mom was my mom was I'm hungry, I'm gonna have a piece of cheese and an almond, yeah, or a handful.
My mom is
nuts.
the same.
My mom's the same. My dad is I'm hungry, I want a row of cookies. And it's funny because my parents are both trim, healthy people, but my dad was always the one with the sweet tooth, or he would watch hockey games a couple nights a week. He is a big hockey fan still, and he would always have popcorn, or he used to eat pistachios and sunflower seeds while he would watch the games, which is pretty good. Snack. But I just remember the the crackling sound. And now I think if I sent my kids to school with nuts, I'd be killed. It's a nut-free. Our school that Ollie's going to go to in September is a nut-free situation, which sucks because we eat so many nuts in our house and like nut butters.
I've never ever had our school say something about that.
It's the like, North America European
but like it's
thing.
Like I wonder if there's like a difference in allergies between Europe and North America. It's like a nut allergy, like that's such a big thing where like everyone is aware of possible nut allergies in North America versus like Europe. I've never really heard people talk about that.
Maybe we're just more litigious. Which
we've discussed this many times.
What was your favorite toy growing up in the 90s?
Oh, dang, Melissa, that is such a hard question because I was the most playful kid. I love playing with everything. But I was a Barbie kid growing up. I definitely loved my Barbies, and they evolved with me. So at the beginning, it was like a lot of Barbie play, just like playing and like reenactments, and then we started reenacting movies, and that was a big thing between me, my sister, and my cousin. We loved playing Barbie dolls together. And then as we got older, my mom taught me how to sew, so I was sewing clothes for my Barbie dolls well in my teens, because I really enjoyed that. I was also just like a crafty kid. I also other answer paper, scissors, and tape and markers, and you would not hear me for the rest of the day. I was such a good kid. My God, I would love having me as a kid.
I want to bring your mom on and be like, is that actually true?
My sister keeps joking that I'm the favorite child. So that probably tells you what she would say.
Okay, I guess.
What was your favorite toy growing up?
My favorite thing to play with in the 90s was to play house. I was really into that. So like anything that would help facilitate that, like
with dolls, with baby dolls,
I had like a baby doll, grocery shopping, like getting the house. I was like training to be a mom at the age of like 6. I really liked that, and I loved playing house. That was what we used to call it. So
were you playing house like in the way that I play The Sims now, where like I do not like any drama in my Sims. Like it's like I'm basically just practicing how to be an adult in The Sims, and it's like it's all very vanilla for like it has a bad term, like just like that. Or because we were playing with baby dolls, but there was like a lot of drama involved. And I know it's like some things, like sometimes on socials you get to see like there's the ads that you see for like, hey, here's like an ad for kids on TV for a tea set, and kids are like, or for a doll or whatever, they're like filling the teacup and playing like, here you go, and like everyone, like all of the girls are being very gentle. And then in real life, like when we were playing as girls, we're like, I'm orphaned, and like the evil stepmother is coming to get us, and then there's a storm and someone is beheaded and we just need to flee across the island, and oh no, a tornado, and stuff like that. Which one of them were you? I was the first one until my brother wandered into the room, and then I was like, oh no, a monster. And like, then it would change. But my hot take is honestly, like, I don't think those toys were any better. I think we're also obsessed with like the 90s summer and the 90s way, but it was also full of shit. It was full of like processed food. It was full of toys that could probably kill you because there were like fewer regulations, people putting stuff in their mouths, recalls, like terrible toys. Like what the hell is a Furby? Like what that trend, I feel like that should have died before it even started. There's so many like shit things that we all just forgot about. I think it's so nice to romanticize that time, but there was also a lot of trash. I did love playing with Crazy Bones. Did that make it to Belgium? No, what's Crazy Bones?
Plastic garbage, essentially, like little pieces of hard plastic characters that if now my kids wanted that, I'd be like, what? Ew. But the game, it was like a game. So you collected them. They were tiny, like an inch tall. And they were all different colors. Some were glittery, some were not. And the goal was to throw them against a wall and try to get them as close to the wall as possible without just like as close to the wall as possible. So like picture like curling with plastic garbage, basically.
What the hell?
Anyways, this was like total trash, but we got really into it for a couple years, I think. I mean, I say a couple years now, but it was probably like a week, in kid time.
Yeah.
My brother and I were very, very deep into that.
It's funny how like as like our parents, like it seems like both of our parents are like very much about the healthy food and eat your vegetables and are you hungry? Here's an almond for you, child. But at the same time, like we would get plastic garbage as a toy that would just end up on the landfill after 2 weeks.
Yeah, no
and,
one's perfect.
You're true. And that's a funny thing. They weren't worrying about being perfect. They were just doing it. We are like, now all of the toys that come into our household get vetted, mostly by math. Because like,
he does seem like a toy police.
Yes, he's a little bit of a toy police. He means well. But when I bring home plastic garbage for my kids, it's because I was in a pinch and I needed them to be like shutting up for a second. And for example, like when we go to like the big carnival fair, there's one every year in Antwerp, and it's like with all of the big rides, and it's only there for like 6 weeks ish, which is already like quite long, I think. With all of the big rides. And do you have like duck fishing?
What do you mean duck fishing?
Where you like scoop. Like it's one of the attractions or like carnival. Like it's not a ride, which is like all the kids line up and sitting there on their knees. And there's like these plastic ducks, like the, not rubber ducks, but like plastic with a little ring on top. And just like they're floating by. And then you have to like fish them up with like a...
I know like the concept of what you're talking about, but I don't think I've seen it.
And like the thing is like if you... Like your parents prepay for a certain amount and then you fish them all out and then you get to pick like a plastic garbage toy from like the giant toy
like, you
wall.
win garbage. Congratulations.
Exactly. But like the kids always love it.
No, it's fun.
But also like James has such a hard time picking a toy. Like Jack usually like goes a little faster, but James takes like 15, 20 minutes. In the meanwhile, like a bunch of other kids are lining up to start fishing for their ducks. And James is like, nah. And they always end up with like fucking trash, Melissa. And then I bring that home and they're super proud. I know that it'll end up in the garbage in like a week because it's a shitty toy. And Matt is like, why did you get that for them? And it's so difficult because I kind of feel bad about it because I know it'll end up on a landfill. That is not great of me.
But honestly, you're being so hard on yourself. Like, toys are fun. And, like, I don't know.
And the fair is fun. It's true.
Yeah, like, it's so tricky. I, on the one hand, like, hate getting new stuff in the house, like, new toys that I'm just like, this is shit. Like, loot bags are my biggest pet peeve of all time. Because it's always just shit that, like, your kid plays with for 4 minutes and then just like sits in your house. And my instinct is to just like throw it away. But I know that's not good. And like there are a lot of kids out there who have nothing. So like I'm really trying to be mindful of that. However, yeah, I mean, giving away like high quality Montessori wooden toy, like that's not happening either. And I think the main thing is like the stuff culture we live in. It's just such a big part of our lives here, at least in the West, where like, yeah, everything is stuff oriented. Like as an example, we went on vacation a couple months ago. We brought, I don't know, probably like 10 items for the kids to play with, plus probably about 8 books or something for like a week-long trip. And it was more than enough. However, you know, I'm not going to deprive my parents of buying my kids toys on their birthday either. And I know that there are a lot of parents, like, hot take, a lot of people disagree with that. They're like, no, like, this is the approved list of things you can buy, and that's that. But like, I don't know. I think there's some level of just like, it's going to happen. And I don't know. I think we judge ourselves way too much. Like, yes, if you have extra plastic toys in your home, donate them. There are so many families out there who could use them. And yeah, they might end up in a landfill one day. And if you can make a choice between the plastic duck and the wooden duck, you should probably buy the wooden duck. But if you buy the plastic duck, you're not going to hell. Like, life goes on. We're just judging ourselves so much. And we're already carrying the weight of the world. It's too much. Like, yes, climate change, yes, all those things, like that stuff really matters. And I care deeply about the planet and will try everything I can to reduce. But if my kid's going to a birthday party and they want a plastic thing, then like, okay, you know, I'm not going to.
The thing is, like, we are judging ourselves so much over all of this shit, and our parents never did.
That's the difference. Like, you're right. Like, they did not, when I had my mom and my grandmother on this podcast a couple months ago, I was asking them, I was like, we parent in public. Like, what do you think? They're like, what are you talking about? Like, we just did whatever we wanted. No one questioned it. No one judged it. Yes, they probably had less support because they were a little more isolated and maybe loneliness was worse. I don't know, but I think loneliness is a problem right now anyway. But yeah, they just were like, this is the way that we're doing it. And that was that. They didn't even question it. Like, I think social media has made us question everything, because if I'm thinking about it deeply, my circle of friends who are parents, we don't judge each other. We do things a little differently, and that's okay. But I feel like there's really no judgment there, and I'm not constantly wondering like, oh my God, I wonder what that neighbor up the street is feeding their kids for dinner tonight. But like, because they're posting it, I'm like, oh, you know, like goldfish and mac and cheese again, like, or like, oh, you made pie crust from scratch on a Tuesday. Like, what's wrong with you? How do you have time for that? But like, yeah, there's no winning. There's just no winning. Like, if all of this stuff was offline, no one would give a shit. But because we're all like throwing it out into the ether at the world, everyone's just comparing, and it makes it so much worse. And I think that the heyday of the millennial parents that we all fantasize from the 90s about is just that time where we were less public, less judged. I don't think it really has that much to do with like the stuff we had, and it's more the culture we lived in.
Like, social media also functions in a way as like social control over people, and like make sure like everyone kind of like falls in line and you're not straying from the beaten path. But it used to be so much different back then, when like we were so much freer in how we spend our day. My mom was not micromanaging my screen time, and some days we had a lot, some days we had none. But there was like, we could be out on the street in like Antwerp of all places. Like it wasn't even that dangerous, obviously, but it's not like I wasn't living on a cul-de-sac. Like, there were cars. We were walking home from school for like, I want to say like 2 kilometers maybe, when I was 9 and my sister was 6, by ourselves. And we were like the latch-key kids. Like, we were just like walking home by ourselves, crossing busy streets. And my mom had no way of knowing that her 2 kids came home safely from school until she got home from work.
That's so wild.
5:30, 6 p.m.
I want to ask her about that. I want to know, like, how did you cope? But I guess it's also like the fear of God was not put in us like it is now, or them like it is now. Like, now everyone's reading about like abductions and like things going wrong, and it's because of the way like news is also communicated.
Yes, I do think that like the abductions piece, the chances of your kid actually getting snatched at a Walmart are so little. And I think especially with social media, these kind of things just get amplified. Where like you see people making reels of like, this is how I prep my kid for a trip at Walmart. I just saw this like a week ago.
How do you prep your kid for a trip at Walmart? What do they say?
Like, Melissa, they're like using like carabiner hooks to like hook them to like the seat of their, like, with belts, and they're like putting tape with their phone number, and they're putting air tags in their backpacks
to go to Walmart.
To go to fucking Walmart. Are you kidding me? Like,
you shouldn't be going to Walmart, like, if that's what you have to do to go to
also,
Walmart.
They know that this riles people up, and they're just doing it for views, because this is the kind of stuff that gets shared across, like, between friend groups, and be like, look at this nut job. But in the meanwhile, they are making the money. So who's a nut job, really?
I don't know if they're like, look at this nut job. They're like, oh my God, like, I never thought about that. Like, we should totally be like, you know, carabinering our kids. Like, I don't know. I wonder.
No one should be carabining their kids.
Someone recently told me that they had their kid on a leash for like a really long time.
Oh, what are your thoughts on the leash?
Oh, you know, it's so funny. Like, I obviously, like any other person, judged people for using leashes before I had kids. Now that I have kids, I judge people way less. I'm not going to put my kid on a leash, but if I see someone on a leash, I'm like, I see
they
you, Mom.
know there's a reason why it's on a leash. No one voluntarily puts their kid on a leash unless you have a runner, and then it's for their safety.
I think that's interesting too. Like, so there is that balance between, you know, safety, or like real safety, and the feeling of safety. It comes back to the risky play thing too. Like, when we grew up, we played outside all the time. We lived on a street in the suburbs with like it wasn't isolated, but it wasn't like a crazy busy road or anything. And we used to play outside all the time. We had boundaries as we got older. So like at the beginning, we could play in the backyard alone. But if we wanted to play in the front yard, which was not fenced, then we had to stay, like on the property. Like we couldn't leave the driveway or the lawn. Then at some point, my brother wanted to grind on his skateboard on the curb of the road. And then like that was like, okay, that's allowed. We don't need to be there. But my mom and dad were like looking out through the window at us, allegedly, for some chunk of that time.
That's what they told you. But in the meanwhile, they were just chilling.
I'm trying to remember as to what age that started, because
when would you be comfortable with Ollie just like playing out in your front yard? Not right now, obviously.
Thinking. So it's funny because we live at a dead end, and we live pretty close to the dead end, but we live in a big city too. So there's that. And we live near a beach where there's a lot of people who don't live in the neighborhood wandering around all the time, which is cool. But, you don't know every face that walks by. But we're also very close with our neighbors. So it's like everything I'm saying is just contradicting the last point. I wouldn't be comfortable with it unless I was like sitting on a chair at the window staring at him the whole time. At this age?
At this age? Well,
I don't know. It's hard to picture what he's going to be like when he's older. But
I can imagine like
maybe 6, 7.
Oh no! All of the youths are going to hate us.
I don't think there are any youth listening to this podcast. The fact that you call them youths is
if you are
enough
youth,
that they're not.
Please write in and tell us that you're listening.
I don't know. I also as an example, I forgot something in the house the other day, and Oliver was already like out on the sidewalk in front of our house, and I was like, okay, I have to go back in. and he's like, I'll wait here. I'm like, no, you have to come. And he's like, why? I'm like, I can't leave you outside on the road by yourself, like next to the road.
Interesting.
And then
was it just Oliver or was Phoebe there?
Phoebe was in my arms because I wasn't, there's no way. She's just like a danger to herself and everyone at this age. So, and I don't trust him to be able to catch her if she tries to run into the road, for example.
No, of course.
So then we negotiated, and he waited on the front steps. So I couldn't see him, but I knew I went upstairs.
So here's my hot tip for that. Like, what's your tip? Whenever I took my kids like somewhere and we were like in a public bathroom and I had to like go to the bathroom, but they couldn't be in there with me or they didn't want to or wherever, and they had to like wait outside, I told them to like put their hand on like something very specific, like on the car, or like not necessarily the car, but like maybe the outside of the bathroom door or wherever. And I told them to sing me a song. Okay. Because then I could always hear them. Yeah. And I knew that they were still within range. I could hear where they were. And they were like, I was like, you can sing as loud as you want. And they just got very excited, like, itsy bitsy spider. And I was like, okay, well, they're like disruptive for like 1 minute while I go to the bathroom. But I could still hear them and know that they were there. And I knew, especially like in the women's bathroom, I knew that other women would totally get why my kid was doing that. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I have a similar one where like once in a blue moon, if I'm taking one kid at like Phoebe out of the bath and Oliver's still in the bath, but he really doesn't want to come out and like tempers are good. I don't want to like change that. So Phoebe's room is beside the bathroom. So occasionally I'll say like, Ollie, you can stay in the bath, but you have to sing while you're in the bath. So I know you're okay. So I'm like, what song do you want to sing? And then he'll sing while I go, just like grab Phoebe's things and clothes and bring them back to the bathroom or something. Which makes me still kind of nervous because like water and drowning and all of that. But it works. He sings for the 15 seconds it takes me to go around the corner and come back. And it makes me feel better about it. And it's fun, I think, for him. So yeah.
And then at the same time, our parents didn't care.
I don't know. My parents are pretty paranoid about some things, though. Like,
fair. Oh, yes. Here's a conversation that we may have already had on a podcast. I'm not sure, with the seatbelts. And I know that your mom was like very strict about seatbelts. And you were like super terrified for like, after you found out, like you drove on the store. And then my mom on my end was like, Mom, when can we take off our seatbelts? And she was like, when we get to the highway. Yeah. I'm so fucking strict about seatbelts right now with my kids.
Same. I'm crazy. And even my husband is like, you need to relax. Like they're in their seatbelts. I'm like, it's not tight enough. It's not aligned perfectly.
Oh, but you have like the chest clip, right? On your seatbelt?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a European thing.
Our kids are in, it's not a European thing. It's true. Whenever we go to Europe to visit my husband's family, the car seats I'm like, these are not secure. Like, these are not safe. And they're like, this is what we had. This is
what kind of car seat is it? Is it just like the little booster seat?
So the classic like baby car seat, infant car seat has no base. It's just like seat belted in a very loose way.
Oh, that true. Yes, that's
that thing would just fly out the window if we got in an accident, even though it's strapped in. Like there's no security. It also has no neck support, and the back shell doesn't come up very high. So you know how, well, I don't know if you know this, but in North America, we have on our infant car seats it's almost like a lid, like a roof over the top of their heads. And you're supposed to keep that closed while you drive in case your window breaks, that the glass doesn't shatter on their head.
Oh, interesting.
So
well, we can cover it up. Like it's just like a little canvas thing. Is it that?
Yeah, it's the canvas thing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so cool. And then the other car seat, the other one is more of like a toddler car seat that we use there. And it's okay. It was like the safest one we could find, but it was nothing even close to the one we have now. Like just in terms of the way that it anchors into the vehicle and the way that there's no chest strap. Yeah. So like Ollie could wiggle out of it if we didn't do it like extremely tight. And it's extremely uncomfortable for him. And his head bobs forward when he falls asleep in that one. Whereas in our car seat at home, it's like angled a minutia amount where his head just like stays back. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Even at 4. So I do think the safety standards are different. And I mean, when I was a kid, we obviously had seatbelts and car seats and whatever. But I remember when I got our first car seat, my parents were like, this is extreme. Like, this is different than when you were a kid. And like when my parents were kids, they were just like rolling around in the back seat with no seatbelt ever. So yeah, technology evolves. We evolve with it.
So talking about technology, I just mentioned like my mom did not police our screen time at all. That was like a good and a bad thing. I think there were days where we watched a lot of TV. There were days where we watched none. But I do have very fond memories of watching, especially the Disney movies, because they were inspiring to me to then go draw, go craft something, go sew a dress for my Barbie dolls, go recreate the story most of the time. How was your screen time managed as a kid? Were your parents very strict about it? Did you game? Because, for example, like we weren't gaming, like we weren't allowed to game. And for some reason, also my mom had like a very strict, like we could watch Disney movies, but everything where there were like real physical actors, we never had that for some reason because she didn't like them. Like no live action. Like I only saw Home Alone when I was an adult and I was with math. And I really like Home Alone. But there's like a bunch of these like live action Disney movies that I've never seen.
I'm trying to think about it. Well, it was divided up into the like computer era and like pre and post computers. With the TV, we were allowed to watch TV during the week if our homework was done before dinner, but dinner wasn't ready yet. So that was usually like a 20 to 30 minute window. And who knows what we were watching, but there was a vegetable plate on our lap while we were watching it. And then on the weekends, it's so funny. I remember the day I had this epiphany where like weekend mornings as a parent, if you can sleep in, that's just the gift, like the best gift the universe can give you. And when we were kids, we used to be like, oh, we're going to like sneak out of bed really quietly and go watch TV as long as possible and try not to wake up our parents. And we always thought like, we're winning, like, haha, we get TV. My parents are for sure upstairs being like, fuck yeah, like the kids are up. They didn't even say that because they were literally sound asleep.
Here's a funny Belgium story on that. Okay. So you know how like the dictionary or like maybe more like the national news or something, like they copy like the word of the year, like at the end of the year. And like 10 years ago-ish, someone coined the term Samson sex. Okay. So every kid in Belgium has grown up with this TV show of like a guy and his dog, and they are called Gert and Samson, or Samson and Gert. That was like the name of the show. Samson was a dog, Gert was a guy. He then went on to like really become like a big TV presenter, and he's now like one of the only like probably billionaires in Belgium or like multimillionaires in Belgium, just because like the whole spiel got him so fucking rich. Samson was always on weekend mornings, and And apparently a lot of parents were using the Samsung TV time to then go have sex. Because they knew that they were kids, like their kids were just like
Samson sex. Oh, that's the term.
In front of the TV.
Oh my God.
And it became like this whole thing where parents were like everyone understood.
That's so funny. No, I'm kidding.
Imagine if people are like, if like within this 10 years, people are coining the term.
Is that relatable
sex
for you? You have older kids who can like get out of bed and go do things.
They are now sleeping in. So
you're getting up even earlier.
I'm the one up early, and then I get to have my coffee in peace. And then this week, because like we have Louis, our little 4.5-year-old nephew, staying with us, I was reintroduced to the concept of not having my coffee warm, and instead like wake up at the crack of dawn to an incessant yapper who just keeps talking to me. And I'm not used to that anymore because my kids are now both like, they're like, it takes them a while to wake up, and just like they're getting up like 9:30, 10 a.m. just like kind of like coming down with their blankets in their jammies and just like snuggling up on the couch and just like slowly waking up. And then Louis, I love him to bits. He's the best. But he's also like, if my sister's listening to this episode, she would be able to attest that like he's the yappiest yapper that ever yapped, talking about everything all the time, constantly. And then I would like be sitting in my armchair in the morning, just like trying to have my coffee, and he would be like perched like
on top of you,
not on like either on top of me or like on the side on my like the arm piece of the armchair, just like chewing his apple in my ear, and I was just being like, oh my God, the sensory overload is too much, and it's only 6:30.
That's so relatable. That's more the phase that I'm in for sure. But the Samson sex thing's really funny because we always thought we were winning, and I can imagine that, like, just to go back to the screen time thing, like it wasn't police. We were just, at some point my parents would be like, all right, get off your asses. Like, we need to go outside. You need to see the sunlight. But we didn't watch a ton. We were very, our like weekends were full, but yeah, I mean, it was raining outside. It's early in the morning, whatever, like sure, watch a movie or something. And then when we got a computer, we had a computer room, and so we had to share it as a family, like all four of us. But Ryan and I, my brother and I, often fought over the computer, of course. And we had a couple of games on there, but they were not, it was more of a like, let's sit down together and play these games, and we'll like each take turns. It was more of an activity in some way, whereas like gaming now I think can be super collaborative, but also doesn't have to be. But it wasn't police really. My parents, because like there just wasn't enough time. I feel like we always had things going on.
Were your parents schedulers?
Well, my dad, absolutely not. My mom, yes, but I don't even know what we were doing on the weekends. Like errands, I have no clue.
But was it like because now I hear very often like parents, this again, like coming back to like the 90s summer versus what we have now, where kids are so overscheduled with activities and enrichment and going to the zoo and a play date and a birthday. I know like you actively have that. Well, is it a problem? It's just like, I know that you are very, very, I'm not going to say overscheduled, because like this is not coming from a place of judgment. This is just like coming from a place of like, oh my God, Melissa, are you not so tired? Because I would be. If like my weekends were always as full as yours are. But I remember that like my parents would very rarely schedule their lives around us. And like I would be dragged along to the hardware and the wood store with my dad. Yeah,
that's more what we were doing. It was like tagging along for errands, visiting family. Like we definitely had the odd activity. Like we, on the weekends for sure, like gymnastics or whatever we were doing at the time. But it was a lot of just like family errands and like cleaning. We also had chores, and we did our chores on the weekends. So I guess it was like every week or every 2 weeks we had to each like clean a bathroom or vacuum or dust. And that was
how old were you?
We were young. We started really young, but we started little.
No,
like,
what's young?
I don't know, maybe 5. We started probably like
when
doing
you clean a bathroom.
No. Like that's what I mean. Like we started small. Like chores started small in our house, but we started really early. Maybe at 3, we were like tidying up and helping, and that was always like really ingrained in us. And we got an allowance at some age. I'd have to ask my parents. I don't remember, but I remember it was a toonie, because the toonie came out in Canada. We had a $2 coin, And so we got Toonies.
That's such a cute name.
And
Toonie.
and I think at that age, at 5, it was probably just dusting. I think that was our kind of gateway into the family weekly
Chores.
clean. Yeah, it was like we would just dust. And then it graduated to like emptying and loading the dishwasher and vacuuming and cleaning bathrooms. And it's hard to say what works now. I think I love a weekend with no plans because we always end up having accidental things to do. But
you are so social in a way
know,
that I
I'm
could
just so social.
never be.
But I also really value, like last Sunday it rained. This sounds so insignificant.
I love that for you.
But because we live in a beachy neighborhood, if it's not tornadoing outside, everyone's like out. And we have this big group chat with all of our friends in the neighborhood called Beach This Afternoon. And whoever's first there drops a pin, and then we're like, let's go. And Nick, like, I'm a bit more cool with staying home sometimes. And he's more like, no, we have to go out. Like, it's 4:00. We have an hour till dinner, or like we have to cook dinner. Like, let's go down. And that just always escalates into like, it's 6:15 p.m. We're still at the beach. No one has thought about dinner. And Phoebe's supposed to be sleeping in 45 minutes. And we're like, oh no. So this happens a lot. But now I'm trying to protect our Sundays a bit better so that if things get a little overscheduled or over social on a Saturday, that at least Sunday from kind of like 4:00 Sunday, we're like home, we're not leaving. And I really like the quiet wind down of the week, because last Sunday it rained and Ollie and I painted our bathroom and puttered all day. And like Nick was like, you're insane. Why are you painting the bathroom? Just like sit down and let's watch a movie or something. But I really wanted to do that for a while. I really find that fun and relaxing. So I was happy to do it. And we went out and played in the rain for a bit with the kids.
Nice.
And that was the day. And like, that was also a very dreamy day. But literally the day before, we were like running errands from probably like 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. with the kids. I feel like
you need like a 3-day weekend.
We did have a 3-day weekend.
You have a 3-day weekend?
Yeah, we had a holiday. But it's true. I would love a 3-day weekend.
Because like then you have like 1 day for errands, 1 day for like family/friends, and 1 day just like rest. And
that'd
just
be great.
Catch your breath.
Yeah, we should just have 4-day work weeks. I mean,
yes.
Maybe we should have 4-day work weeks. I don't know. Should we? Let's talk about that later.
To any of our employees listening, we are not making any promises.
I know. People have asked about that over the years. I mean, it's funny. Like before we started the company, I'm like, if I ever have my own company, it's going to be cool. Like we're going to have Fridays off and we're going to work like 1 to 2 p.m. only. And like, it's going to be so fun. But now that we have all these things to do, the thought of not, like, I think if you lose a day of work, you still have to do the same output. So it just makes those other days more intense. Stressful. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. We should genuinely think about it, but
we should. Like things have changed so much over the past decades, kind of like bringing it back to the podcast, that I wonder my mom would absolutely be shocked if I would consider a 4-day work week.
What do you think is surprising about how you parent now versus how you were raised? Is there like anything? I mean, we've talked about a couple of things today, but like millennial parents, it's like we have our own.
What would my mom be shocked if she?
What are you personally surprised about, if anything?
If I do anything differently, or
no, just like as an example, I thought when I was a kid or growing up that I would parent a certain way, and I parent probably 80% of that, but it's different. And the 20% variance is a lot in the time I spend with my kids. Like I always thought I would be a stay-at-home mom. As millennial parents, I think a lot of us grew up with a parent at home. I know you didn't, but at least in my circles, that's how, like, all my friends had a stay-at-home parent for a chunk of their childhood. That was so normal. I always thought that I was going to do that. And I actually wanted to do that, but we started a company and I didn't want to stop working. No, it's not like, it's a good thing, but sometimes I do think about the time that I have with my kids, like
it is going by really fast.
It just goes so fast. So that's something that I think millennial parents might be thinking about, because our generation is one of the first generations that's expected, especially of women, expected to work full time and run the household and parent full time. with no extra help.
It's so like, weird. It's
what's
so
that? There's
outside
a name.
of
There's like a name for this, but we're the first generation to be
well, they always say like we are expected to work as if we don't have kids and expected to raise our kids as if we are not working, which is ringing so true. And it's always such a difficult balance. Something that shocks me, and that would have shocked little Esther when I would be able to reach back in time and tell her, is that I moved so far away from my family. And well, I know that for United States standards or North American standards, I live like a sneeze away.
No, but it's still like a 2-hour drive, isn't it?
It's like around a 2-hour drive. But I remember talking to my cousins about like, I had this expectation that like, if like, okay, so when we were growing up, we had Fridays at my grandma. As we mentioned on one of the previous episodes with my sister, is that I grew up in a very matriarchal family with my grandma at the helm. She had 3 daughters. All of them had 2 kids, and it's 5 girls and 1 boy, and that's my boy cousin. And other than that, like I have like 3 girl cousins and then me and my sister. And we always got together on Friday night at my grandma's to play. We called it Friends Night. For my mom and her sisters and her mother, it was yap time. It was so late every Friday night. I think that was kind of like my mom's hack to make us sleep in on a Saturday morning, because we were like, it would be like 11:30 p.m., nearly midnight. And it would be like, guys, you better start cleaning up because we're going to drive home. And we're like, no, we're not done playing yet. It was so late. But this, like, it started when we were like between the age of like 5 and 8, when we're staying up that late. Even before that, when I just like, but it wasn't that late. And somehow I always expected that I would stay in Antwerp, and when I would be a parent, I would be parenting alongside this group of people. And now that I have moved so far away, like my boy cousin has kids, but I only see them like a couple of times a year. My girl cousin that I was closest with doesn't have any kids, doesn't want any kids. And that's also like completely fine and her choice. My sister has Louis, and Louis and the boys are like 3 peas in a pod. They are the best of friends. They are so cute together. And I know that Louis very actively misses the boys when we don't see them for a couple of weeks, because that happens. Like, we live so far away, or far enough that it's not just like a quick drive up and down. We can't just like, when my sister's is going through a hard time, I can't just like pop in and just help out and like go get Louis from school. And that does make me sad sometimes, that I can't just be there for her when she needs me. It's always like more of a planning situation.
Would you guys ever move?
I don't think we would ever move. I'm too happy where we live here. And we have found like our own normal in this. We have multiple guest rooms. My mom has multiple guest rooms. So either, well, now like with the reno, it's been a while since they were all able to stay over. But when we would go to Antwerp, my family can stay over at my mom's, and my sister can also stay over at my mom's, and we all have bedrooms. So then it's just like we see each other for the entire weekend. And then when they come over, they can also still hang out here and stay the night. And they are spending, again, like the entire weekend here or longer. And my mom says that like ultimately she prefers it that way, because she says like, in other situations when the kids, like if we would live closer and my kids would get tired when they're toddlers, that's when you like pack up your stuff and go home. And my mom says, I'm happy that I get to see like the good and the bad and the ugly parts of you raising your kids, and like me getting to experience that with you and with them, so that we're not just like leaving when they get cranky, but we are just all working through it, for better or for worse, because sometimes we don't agree on things that we are doing and sometimes we do. But she thinks that ultimately it made her closer to her grandsons, which I really like, and my sister now, because we had the habit of like staying over. My sister, even though she lives like a 5-minute drive away from my mom's, she will still be sleeping over every weekend at my mom's. So
that's very sweet. It sounds like you guys have such a special family connection. And I think the way times have changed between like when we grew up in the 90s and now, I think most of the time like that doesn't necessarily still happen. Like I do think that's unique, and especially with the global world we live in, and the fact that a lot of us moved to different cities or countries and are away from family. It's like the chosen family definitely is a big part of, I think, how millennial parents think about raising kids, or at least in the world that I orbit. But to kind of wrap up, like, do you think parenting is easier now than it was in the 90s for our parents?
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
I think it could be, but I think there are, like, the world has gotten so much faster and expectations have risen with that I think I think part of it is that we are making it harder on ourselves by trying to meet expectations that aren't there, or trying to follow societal norms that we should necessarily be, because they're not everything is for everyone. But also the world has just gotten so much faster than before. Social media isn't helping the way that we are, as we just said, expected to work as if we're not parents, and parenting as if we don't work. The previous generations have never fully dealt with that problem, and we are now taking the brunt of it. And I hope that by the time our kids have kids, that we will have figured out a bit more of a balance for them, or at least help them.
I hope, but I'm not optimistic, because I think when our kids have kids, the world's going to look really different thanks to, evolutions in technology and AI. And I'm not saying this in a panicky way. I just think it's going to be so different. Like, our parents could have never imagined that we would have computers in our pockets when they were raising us. And it's not, it doesn't
remember
seem
the teachers being like, you need to learn math because you will not have a calculator in your pocket.
Now you don't need math. Like, literally you don't. I mean, I'm being a bit facetious, but I think this comes back to why I think raising kids now is more about developing important skills for life, not just for the classroom, because we don't really know what's coming, and just building like kind, confident humans who can, tap into things that can't be mimicked currently with technology is really important, like creative thinking and problem solving and imagination and tenacity.
Especially because we were that generation who was raised on a different standard than we are experiencing now. So we are trying to do everything that we can to make sure that our kids are better set up for that changing world than we are.
I think every generation, sorry, I'm yawning. We had such a rough night with Phoebe. Relatable. And I think every generation thinks that. Every generation is like, oh no, like, we have the greatest problems of our time to solve. Raising kids has never been harder. Like, I think every generation thinks this.
I wonder if they were as actively, I don't remember my mom actively trying to steer her parenting in one direction or another, because she was like, oh no, my generation is different from whatever my kids are growing up in. I don't think my parents were actively trying to think on which skills do my kids need to grow up in this futuristic world. Maybe my mom was just that confident in her parenting that she was like, no, they'll figure it out.
I think it comes back to that, the doubt. Yeah. Our generation is riddled with parenting doubt because we parent in public and everyone's showing some random false version of what it's really like to be a parent. And the really authentic people online are showing something that we still all compare ourselves to. So true. I think it's a very, comparison is the thief of joy. You heard it here. And I think that's, I mean, I didn't invent that line. My friend Lindsay always says it. But it's so true. And that is the difference. And I don't think these are the kinds of conversations our parents actually had with us. They were like, by the way, we're raising you like this because this is how it should be done. Or we're thinking about the future, so we're going to make sure that you learn how to do X. They just talked amongst themselves, executed, raised their kids, and then here we are. I think we are psychoanalyzing our parenting constantly, for better or for worse.
So tiring. But we are doing great.
Yeah, and it's
trying
fun.
Our best.
It's fun to talk it through, to just have a vessel and to hopefully build community, because I think that's the other problem is the loneliness has never been higher, especially I think amongst parents who are lacking the village or have a village but still don't feel fully, fully supported, fully seen. Anyways,
try. I hope parents I hope people listening to this episode kind of remember the weird crazy bone game that you grew up with? Or if we have some European/Belgium listeners, they recognize the Samson sex.
That's my favorite thing from this episode. Samson's. I'm trying to think. We probably had something similar, like maybe Looney Tunes
Mr. Rogers sex.
Mr. Rogers sex.
I don't know. When was he on?
We always watch Bugs Bunny Saturday mornings, like Bugs Bunny sex.
Well, that has a very...
Sounds even worse.
Can't get that image out of my mind now.
All right.
Dang.
Well, in summary, as
You're
usual,
doing great.
There's no conclusion other than life is interesting. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, please go give us a comment or a review or a rating because it helps us a ton. And I feel like we forget to say that often because we're just so caught up in the conversation. So please take 2 seconds and do that. And we can't wait to talk to you next week.
Yeah, we're so grateful that you're also still here, still listening. Like, I think we don't call that out enough, but thank you for listening to our episodes. We love yapping, and we hope you get something out of it.
Have a great week. See you next week, everyone.
Bye.